Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot Roundup in partnership with Leave No Dem Behind, where I introduce you to Democratic candidates running in local elections throughout the country. I'm Bryan Randolph, and today I am here with Shawn Harris, who is running for the U.S. House of Representatives to represent Georgia's 14th Congressional District, the seat currently held by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hello, Shawn. It is great to have you here today.
Hey, Brian, it's so great to be on your show, man. I tell you, thank you for all your support and everything that you're doing for all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about you?
Hey, appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Many people have heard my story. My story is not unique to be from Georgia. I came from a little small town, Southwest Georgia, Blakely, Georgia, to be specific. And on that, in Georgia, I was born and raised on a dirt road, and it's still a dirt road today in 2024. But after I finished high school, I went into the Marine Corps. After finishing the Marine Corps, I went to Tuskegee University, went through ROTC, and became a second lieutenant in the United States Army. As going through my military career, to make it real quick, I switched from the Army to the National Guard, did time in the Michigan Army National Guard, did time in the Virgin Islands National Guard, and ended my career in the Georgia National Guard. But the difference in my time was I was what we call AGR, or Active Duty National Guard. And from that, I had the opportunity to deploy to Afghanistan, to Kosovo, and my last major assignment was Israel. But in between all those things, I actually led a team into Liberia, Africa during the Ebola time. So a lot of different experience. And then somewhere sprinkled in there, just for your viewers to know, that I was a teacher and a principal. But then this thing called
Wow.
9/11 happened, and then as like everybody else, our careers completely changed. So if 9/11 never happened, I probably would have retired as a principal or superintendent somewhere there in Michigan. But that wasn't the plan, and I put the uniform on and kept on going.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about District 14?
Yes, District 14, Northwest Georgia is beautiful. Um, we have the mountains, we have awesome people. Everybody here is super nice. And on top of that, the district is 10 counties. From the time that you cross the state line coming down from Tennessee, coming into on 75, it crosses back over to Rome, Georgia, and then comes to Polk, Paulding County, and then we have a little sliver of West Cobb. So the district itself is very different from the district that Marcus Flowers ran in. So I want to make sure that everybody understands the district Marcus ran in and the district I'm running in. Only thing it has in common is still called 14, but what from a demographics, from a voter base, it is uniquely different from each other. And right now, what I can say to you is, inside the 14th, we have people that were born and raised here. We also have a significant amount of people that have moved into the district from all over the United States, to live up here in the mountains. And I'm not going to say that everybody is in support of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, and that brings me on to she who shall not be named. But obviously, you're going out, you're meeting people. Not everybody you meet's going to be a supporter, and you're going to have to meet some of your opponent's supporters. And I have trouble understanding how people are supporting her. But you are talking to these guys. What are you hearing when you speak to someone who supports her? What are they telling you are the issues that keep them in support of her?
Well, that's an awesome question, and I'll tell you this: here inside of the 14th in Northwest Georgia, we have individuals that are following Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that's a small percentage, great Americans. But then we also have what I call common sense Republicans. So when I'm out and about, and I'm always out and about, I'm constantly talking to Democrats, independents, and yes, I'm actually talking to Republicans. And if I end up talking to a Republican that supports Marjorie Taylor Greene, the first thing I do as a leader, because leadership matters, is I listen. I don't judge them or anything. No matter what the issue or whatever they're talking, I listen. But then I turn right back around and ask a simple question. What has Marjorie Taylor Greene done for you? And then I pause and be quiet. And that's when we can find that little space, because they struggle to tell me anything that Marjorie Taylor Greene has actually done for them. She talks about protecting them from communism. She talks about protecting them from socialism. She talked about protecting them from somebody that's coming over the border, but they can't point to any of those concrete things. And that's when we start having a conversation about generational jobs, about healthcare access, about making sure that your kids actually will have an opportunity. Just because you chose to live in a zip code that is the rural community, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have every opportunity. And then the last thing I would tell you is, as you know, as a being a veteran, there's a lot of veterans that are Democrat or Republican, and that's great. And usually, when I'm talking to Republicans, they, if they're not a veteran, they had somebody in their family that was a veteran, and I simply ask them or tell them, look it up for yourself. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "Going in the military is a waste of your life." Now, I'm here to tell you, people can say a whole lot of things about me. I'll take it. But when you say going in the military, becoming a veteran, serving our country is a waste of life, then I take an issue with that. And usually Republicans or common sense Republicans kind of step back and say, wait a minute, let me look that up. And the good thing about Marjorie, she tweets everything. You don't have to be a genius to find it. She tweets it. And what I say to them is this: as a veteran, I'm going to get up every day and fight for veterans and everybody else seniors the whole across the board to ensure that they get the health care that they deserve, to ensure that they get the mental health care they deserve. Because here in our district, we have two things going on. We have a health care desert. Some of our counties don't have a hospital at all. Others have very good health care. But majority of us here in this district, if you get into an accident or something happen, they fly you to Atlanta or they fly you to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay? With that being said, when it comes to mental health support, veterans or anybody, we have nothing. So these things is things that I feel that when I go to Congress, I need to make sure I send back the federal dollars here so that we can have the right people in all the positions so that the money's spent and putting structures in place that not only am I taking care of your family, but I'm also making sure that you have a high paying generational job that you can earn a wage on and you don't have to travel everywhere to do it.
Excellent. So do you feel like you are making headway? Like when you have conversations with these guys, are they starting to move?
Yes, I would tell you, I talk to everyone in the district on a daily basis, and we have a sign, a yard sign that says Republicans for Shawn. That I can't keep up with the sign. We people are so excited to take my sign and boldly put it in their yard and say, you know what? I'm not going to say I agree with everything that Shawn's trying to do, but I can get in behind leadership because what I have now in Marjorie Taylor Greene is absolutely nothing. I'll tell you something. Marjorie Taylor Greene has went on the record and said that she hates working in Congress. She's on the record saying that she hates working with Republicans. And you know she already hates working with Democrats, but she hates working with her own party. She's in a civil war with the the Speaker of the House. Then she's also in a civil war with the leadership here in Georgia when it comes to voting in elections and our governor. At the end of the day, since Marjorie Taylor Greene hates her job so much, I just say to people, then let her go do something different. I'm willing, I have been serving you all of my adult life. I'm willing to continue to do that. And when I say continue to do it, I'm willing to reach across the aisle, work with everybody to ensure that the interests of Northwest Georgia is met because I don't want to see Northwest Georgia get left behind.
Well, and speaking of what's going on in Northwest Georgia, we just got past Hurricane Helene and we're potentially facing Milton, which I don't know. It's not really headed for you guys, but still another devastating hurricane on its way. Your opponent has suggested that they control the weather. She's not done great when her voting record is not ideal. What are your thoughts on how she's responded to this and how it's affected the people of your district?
Well, I would tell you, it's embarrassing. And many people in this district, when they are blessed to go and travel and go somewhere else in the United States or really around the world, and they ask the simple question, "Hey, where you from?" It's people in our district that are embarrassed to say that they're from Northwest Georgia, because then all of a sudden, people around the world and here in the States say, "Oh, you're from Marjorie Taylor Greene's district." So they try to keep that a secret. But specifically to your question, Marjorie, a few weeks ago, when the hurricane was actually about to hit Florida, this is Thursday, Friday, the last 2 days that Congress was in session. The decision was coming down or the vote was coming down to put additional money into hurricane relief. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, while that hurricane was hitting Florida, and while at the moment that hurricane was hitting Florida, it was on a path to come right here to Northwest Georgia. That's what we were tracking. It was not supposed to rear off and then go to Northeast Georgia and hit Augusta. It was definitely going to hit Valdosta and then come on up and come into Rome and then come on over to the Northwest Georgia. While all that was happening, Marjorie Taylor Greene went in there, and instead of voting in favor of making sure that we had money to take care of the people here in Northwest Georgia and everywhere with FEMA and everything else that she's talking about now, she voted present. Present means that you're not really doing anything. But by voting present, she really voted no to block it from being passed. And here we are, two things. One, she made that decision, then came home the very next day and actually started doing town halls. Okay? And then on top of that, this week that we're currently in, the president of the United States has actually asked the Speaker of the House to come back to Congress, put additional money into hurricane relief, especially now since we got another hurricane coming up. Regardless if it's in Georgia or not, it's going to hit Florida. Okay? Then on top of that, she's saying she don't want to go back, and then she's saying if she goes back, she's going to vote no. Now, I don't know about you, but yes, I live in Georgia, but I have family that also lives in Florida. And I when as a congressman, I'm always going to be voting to support Americans that are in need. And as Congress, my job with all the rest of the congressmen is to make sure that we have the funding to support the programs that we already have in place. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has made it very clear that she does not care about anybody in this district. Everything that Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing is all about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is about making her look good. Is about getting her to her next steps. I would tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, my team has asked her to debate me. Nothing. Crickets. I've actually asked her if we could meet for coffee because my house to her house is less than 20 minutes apart. Crickets. Here we are. She's currently at home. Currently at home. After I finish talking to you today, I'm actually going up to Dalton, Georgia to a forum. All the other candidates that are down ticket below us, the Democrat and the Republican, will be in the same room tonight talking to the people of Dalton. The only candidates that will not be there is Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I'm going and I'm still going to talk to the people. I just again be by myself again. So the question comes into it is this: Marjorie is your representative, but she don't want to talk to you. She don't want to listen to you. And then I encourage your followers to check out my webpage. That's ShawnForGeorgia.com. But I encourage them to check it out because I was in Dalton 2 weeks ago, and on Margie's page it says that her office, where you're supposed to go and talk to people to get help, is in Dalton, Georgia. I went. I personally went myself, and guess what? It's the post office. I think the box is 529. If you go to my website, you'll see that I'm down on my knees because at the very bottom, and I'm pointing at it. I'm here to tell you, when I win this election, I will have three offices in this district. One's going to be in Dalton, one would be in Floyd County, and one would be in Paulding, to ensure that if you need to talk to me or talk to my staff, you don't have to be driving a whole long way. But Marjorie Taylor Greene has been in office for 3.5 years. She's given money to open offices, but refused to open office because she does not want to listen to you. She just wants to go to work every day and do absolutely nothing.
Now, is any of this resonating with her supporters? I mean, are any of them seeing this?
Yes. Many of them are seeing it, and many of them are quietly, I got to respect that, quietly saying, Shawn, I'm going to support you. I'll go on and
Good.
I'll go on and tell you the rest. Some of them say, um, Shawn, I'm going to do what I'm going to do at the top of the ticket. Okay. But then they say, I look at the representative position almost like being a county commissioner. You're local. Even though I go to Washington, D.C. every day, what we like about you, Shawn, we see you at Walmart. We see you at the grocery store. We see you all around town. And yes, you have always been a general that's retired, but you never carry yourself like you were better than anybody else. They understand that when I go to Washington, D.C., and come home on Friday or whatever day I come home, I'm still gonna they'll still have access to me. I'll tell you something else. Over this whole year, I bet you I've given more than 7,000 people my personal phone number. And that's Democrats, independents, and Republicans, because I tell them, hey, everybody maybe didn't get a chance to ask me a question, or some people don't feel comfortable asking a question in a big crowd. If you want to talk to me quietly, give me a call. If you live here somewhere in the district, we'll set it up and I'll meet you somewhere for coffee, because I want you to feel comfortable with me being your representative. And when we have those discussions, guess what? They usually say to me, Shawn, I can't agree with everything that you're doing, but I like the fact that you are willing to talk to me, because I have never seen Marjorie Taylor Greene in 3.5 years. Marjorie Taylor Greene travels to Rockmart, Georgia, where I live, every day, every week, going back and forth to the airport. And here, just in the last couple of days since she's home, and because I live right here in Rockmart, Georgia, she has decided to come here and eat lunch. Guess what? Those people that she had lunch with were handpicked.
Of course. Yeah.
Nobody else knew that she was coming. So hence, again, everything is a photo op. Nobody's actually, she don't want to do any work.
All right. Well, so we are down to my last question, which is my favorite question. I call it my softball question. I would like you to tell me something about the 14th district that makes it special to you.
I tell you what, that's a great question. What makes the 14th special to me is that, one, obviously, I'm a farmer and I raise cattle. But the way that we ended up here in the 14th is my wife, Carla, and I we're simply looking for the right house, the right farm, and all of those things. We actually looked at two other locations before coming here. One was down in Savannah, and the last one before coming directly here was in Fort Valley. And when we looked at the farm in Fort Valley, we said, you know what? Let's take the time to go up here to this place called Rockmart, look at this farm, and as soon as we pulled in, we actually said, this is the place. So we are all in. We're never leaving. Win, lose, or draw, I will spend the rest of my life right here on this farm, being a person from Northwest Georgia. And I guarantee you, if you would ever have a podcast with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she can't tell you that she's going to stay here in Northwest Georgia, because she moved in Northwest Georgia from Atlanta just to come here to win a race.
Of
So,
course.
so people need to ask themselves, do you want somebody who's just popping from place to place? Or do you want somebody to say, you know what, after all these years of moving and going different places, we have finally found home. And I chose to come back to my home state. And I chose to live here in Northwest Georgia. And I will always be here in Northwest Georgia.
Shawn Harris is running for the U.S. House of Representative in the Georgia 14th District, and I just wish you the best of luck. I really want you to win this, so I thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. What I would say here in closing, leadership matters. Leaders must lead and leaders must listen. And leaders must actually care about the people. That's Shawn Harris. I'm not as sure if that's my opponent. And we're gonna let the people here in Northwest Georgia make that decision. And whatever decision they make, I'm gonna respect it. Because again, I just want to make things better for the people here. So again, thank you for having me on. Look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you very much, Shawn.
All right, have a good one.